Right, well, we're back with the painting again. Now, what I did last week was to get the whole canvas covered, so I've got the picture more or less in place. The colours more or less in the right place. It's all very crude and full of energy. Now, I don't want to lose the energy, but I would like to make it a little bit less crude. So I'm going in with a smaller brush, reworking the areas. Some of what I've done will show through and some of it will be covered. So we'll start off like I did last time in the top left-hand corner, making smaller marks, less energetic marks with a smaller brush, so that although it's still looking pretty energetic, it's not actually causing too much excitement. Well, that's a stupid thing to say, you know what I mean. I'm just trying to make it look like I meant it, and I wasn't trying to paint it in the gale of wind. So I'm still using that little crisscross stroke, which is fundamental to my style. It doesn't have to be part of yours if you don't want it to be. So I'm not actually changing the color much. I'm just changing the thickness of the strokes, and in places a little bit of the color maybe. And I want to that's the picture there. One, no, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put a little bit of that color in here. That's it. Thank you. Just to open up the tree so that a bird can fly through it, which is the aim and intention of what we're trying to do with the picture. So using a little brush, I'm cutting up the edge in effect, just putting in a few of these sort of sky-colored strokes so that it makes it much more airy. It is, I think it's ash, and an ash tree is not anything like as thick and heavy as I have put it to be. So while I've got the blue on the brush, I'm breaking down this area here, paying some small attention to where the lights are in the picture, so that I get something that looks believable, but at the same time not paying too much attention to the shape of what I'm doing. Now, I did use a bit of cerulean blue in there, so and I like to mix the blues. If you look at the sky does get paler towards the horizon, and sometimes a little bit more green or a bit more yellow. So I remember, when you want to get a light color, start with white and add your color, so that you don't get great gobbets of paint to get down to the color that you want. If you're looking for a dark color, start with the dark and make it lighter. If you're looking for a light color, start with the light, the white or the yellow, and make it add the color to it. I don't want that line there to be definitely a blue line, a royal blue line, and then a now there are some trees down here. So again, I'm just going to introduce a little bit. I think that's a bit too definite. Let's get Get rid of that. Oh, sorry, me. One of the things you can do. Right, that's a bit better. Take it down a bit. And then this. And anything that makes a stroke, what I'm doing at the moment is rolling the brush so that it hits and misses, just to break up the surface. You can see that that looks a lot less scrappy than that one over there. I'm hoping it's not lost its energy. But that it looks a little bit more airy and friendly and considered. Right, while we've got that, let's go over here and do the similar sort of thing over here. That is a little bit too light, so I'm going to add a bit more cerulean blue to the mix, so that it comes out a little bit darker. Could do with a little bit more. And I already had the white, so if I pick up neat cerulean, which is not a strong color anyway, it mixes with the white that's actually on the page. And again, I want to cut up these so that they don't look quite so. Don't know if that is showing to you people in the room or even to our friends online. But from where I am, it's looking better. Trust me. One of the things I find about acrylics is that the white seems to be a lot stronger than it is when you're painting with oils. You somehow need a lot more to overpower the white. I think I'll put a bit more of that cerulean in there. Change the color a bit. I think the purple got a bit adventurous over here. I think I was just showing off, actually. You know, I can put 92 colors in the sky, and it'll still look good. Suppress your personality. Take the picture. Right, get a bit more of this cerulean in the mix over here. And actually, again, I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but actually putting that greeny blue on top of this is making for quite an interesting color mix over here. And the trouble with that is you get carried away by it because you like what's happening, so you do it more and more. And then all of a sudden you find that you've done too much. It's quite a tiny brush I'm working with. I think. Now then, while I'm at it, that line there is far too strong in the picture. It's taking the eye out of the picture when I want you to focus here. So I'm going to soften that off a bit. There are some trees there, so I can use a bit of the cerulean. No, not the cerulean. Can you brush? Use a bit of the ultramarine with a bit of yellow. Remember, I used the ultramarine and the yellow to get the colour, because I wanted to push the colour back. And if you mix two bright colours together, two warm colours together, you get a more muddy colour. And I think that that's a bit better. It's just detracting from that, taking the emphasis out of that line. And when I come down to actually painting that, I'll bring this colour closer to that colour, and then the line will practically disappear. If you put two tones of equal value together, then the difference between them is so slight that you achieve something a little bit more subtle than if you put strong contrasts together. Strong contrasts are fine, but you really want your strong contrasts near your focus, not on the parts that you don't want people to take a lot of notice of. Right, so I'm trying to get a green, mixing ultramarine and cadmium yellow. There are some quite dark patches here, so that's good. That'll help to break it up, so you get a sort of flickering. And some of it flickers into this tree here, because this tree is behind this tree. This tree is further back. I'll see if I can break up this here a little bit. Again, I'm rolling the brush, I'm twisting the brush, I'm tapping, I'm doing all kinds of things just to get different marks, so that it doesn't get repetitive. It's so easy to make the same mark again and again and again, especially when you're using a little brush like this. It's very easy to get very repetitive marks in it. I think that's beginning to look quite nice, actually. I'll add a touch more yellow to it. This part here is much darker. These trees are behind the bridge, but they're not so far back that they're actually turning into navy blue, which is a trick that I like to do. Oh, that looks better. I'm feeling a bit happy about it now. You can spend quite a lot of time at this stage. You've got your picture down. There's no panic about, what goes where. The thing is there in front of you. So all you've got to do is enhance it and make areas of it nicer to look at, more varied. Okay, so we'll go on with these bits here. Now I don't want these to be too strong, so I'm going to add a touch of white to that. If I make them too strong, they draw the eye away from my focus. So I think we're doing all right there. I think I can bring a bit of the green a bit further down here. And I've got a choice as to where I put the top of my bridge. Of course, the beauty of acrylics is you can paint on top of them. And with acrylics, you can do it fairly immediately because it dries so very quickly. Right, now let's turn to the bridge. I've actually remembered to put out Lesbian Crimson this time, which is a great help. I find Cheshire Sandstone, I mix alizarin with raw sienna and burnt sienna. And the more you can achieve whichever color and shade you want by varying the proportions of those three colors. Took me a coon's age to get used to this. I was brought up on limestone. Rock shouldn't be red. It's a prejudice. Right, so I'm going to add a little bit of white to it, because this over here now I'm not going to don't want to use the same stroke as I did up there, that sort of flickering stroke, but I do want to break it up some. So I'm using little horizontal strokes, not to suggest bricks, that's not the basic idea, just to suggest that this is a different texture of work. If I get too much, I just pull them down a bit. There, the crisscrosses were going all over the place. Here, they're either going to be either horizontal or vertical. Now let's see what we can do over here, because this is altogether too, that's too strong, isn't it? Too strong a contrast. Well, I can push the green back. Don't like that. Let's see what I can do with the green. A little bit more white to the green. This becomes less dominant. How am I doing? Yeah, I think that might help. It's a little bit less dominating. Right. Okay, go back to the building of the bridge again. Now I'm going to add a bit more brown this time to the mix, because I'm coming add some white. Because here it is a little bit more browny. In fact, it's greeny. Is it greeny? Darker. Put in a bit of blue. If you're adding blue and brown, of course, you get a sort of black grey colour. And I think that. No, it's still not enough. Come on, you. Do what I want. Right, okay, we're coming on. And that sort of grey colour comes down here a bit. And much lighter than that, the same colour, is down here. And the thing about that is it will make the contrast here a lot less violent if I do that. This is quite a definite shape here. And it goes on under the bridge. I have to do something about that. Right, so I'm just building up the surface of the bridge here. And it will be a bit varied because the thickness of the paint on the brush is varying and there's some of the previous colour still on the brush. That's the thing. If this was oil, I could smear that. It's not going to smear. It's going to be cutting. And then round about there, and then we come down. Down here. Right, okay. So if I add a bit more blue to that mix, what happens? So I want quite a dark, so I'm going to mix the neat, oh, little wonder I wasn't getting what I wanted. Sorry, I've been mixing the wrong colour. Try again. Bit of that. And a bit of that. Right, now I just want to play this down a bit here. And it comes down there. And then wanders again up there. Right. Now, while I've got the dark colour on the brush, there is a stringer along here of some sort. This is where the parapet meets the, that's wrong. I should go just down slightly. And there's a bit there and a bit there. Don't want to make too much of that because it's off the edge of the picture, just enough to suggest there's something going on. And this is far too dark. Whoops. 10 minutes. Right. Okay, gosh, time passes, as they say. Oh, sorry. Right, thank you. It's rather large here. No, that's not, oh, well, whatever. And there's a bit of green here, lifting this. No, that's not right either. No mind, It's because somebody said time, and I'm
sorry about that.
Right, now down here, we've got the water's edge, and it's coming down. Yeah. Every medium has its own advantages and disadvantages. Right. Now I've in my photograph, that is practically white, but I think that is far too expressive of the photograph, not so much of what the actual bridge itself would show. So I'm going to take that color down a bit. Now this edge here, round about here. And again, don't think it needs to be all the same color. I'm wondering about putting a bit of yellow in there. It can only be wrong. I think that's going to look better. This is the sunlight after all, shining on the bricks. So although the bricks aren't actually yellow, I have suggested that they are to warm up the picture. And I think it works. I'm quite pleased with that. So this is an instance where you base it, if you like, on past knowledge of things you've tried before that work, that aren't actually in the image that you're seeking as your source. Add a bit more white to that. It's getting a bit dark. So I'm working on top just with neat color and letting the colors mix on the canvas. And we got a needs to be treated with a bit of ink. If I decide it's wrong when I come to do the to carry on with the picture, I can easily change it. And just there, tiny little.
5 minutes.
Just a suggestion. But there's something. Right, and it's coming, I think. I think it's coming. Right, so carrying on with the bridge, I will keep on adding different colors to my basic sandstone mix to get to the stage where I want my picture to be. I'm trying to keep these strokes here more in keeping with building blocks. I'm not trying to do the building blocks. I don't think that would help matters a little bit. What I'm trying to do is just suggest that this is a broken surface. Okay. So we carry on with this surface here, which is both light and dark, so I can and by going back over it, some of what's underneath is showing through, and some of it isn't. So we're getting much more interesting collection of strokes and suggestions of different. This here, I think, is a lot darker. I think I need a lot more. How am I doing? Can you finish?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Right. Well, I think what's going to happen is I'm just going to sort of carry on talking until we can't talk anymore.
It will cut you off mid-sentence.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I'm just, as I say, just varying the strokes. This needs to be a lot darker in here. This is more. I'm gonna go almost to a grey here, over here. There's that. This comes down much more than that. This is very sketchy drawing. Right, so and again, I'm using the strokes to break up the tree because I don't want it to be quite so evident. I think I better stop there because, but you've got the idea of what I'm doing. All I'm doing is going over the picture with a smaller brush, making the strokes a bit more flickering, trying to retain the energy of the first layer that I put down, because that was fun. And that's part of the picture, is part of the fun. I think the yellow here might be a little bit too strong, but I can change that next week. We'll see what the paint fairies do to it.